Hello, Army of Light Earth Division, the boots on the ground. It's Shawna L. Francis, and today is May 22nd, 2024. Yeah, it's a little bit after midnight here, so technically this should have been on May 21st, but it's been one of those afternoons. It's all good. I have some channeling from Melchizedek to share with you. It sounds like this is really part one of two. We just kind of ran out of steam tonight with this channeling. It was another one of those kind of sit down, and they weren't quite ready. Earlier today when I started meditating around, I don't know, 3:30 or 4, meditated a bit. We did energy work together. I had dinner, came back. They still weren't quite ready. It took really several hours to get through what I have today, and lots of energy work from them, basically preparing me, I assume, for this topic. Um, I had a beautiful weekend in Texas with lovely friends, our soul family, a beautiful wedding, and just an amazing time. But I did get in just last night late, so today's been my recovery day, and I haven't really been meditating much this whole last 4 or 5 days, so this was really catch up, and it just got late and I'm exhausted, so I apologize in advance. Um, so Melchizedek, they talked a little bit about their process, and I think that's really fascinating, and I want to talk to you about that. And then we'll get into the channeling today. Thanks everybody for being here for the weekly briefing. Thank you for subscribing and liking. That helps bring these videos up for new people. We don't get a whole lot of new people watching these videos, but that's all right. The right people are here, and that's what's important, team. I love you, and I thank you so much. Okay, so Melchizedek today, we were kind of having a little bit of a banter back and forth just mentally about this channeling for today, and they said this is going to be a tough one. Um, and they said there may be some starts and stops to the channeling as they kind of articulate how they want to do this. And they had said, well, this is a first for us. So I thought, just let's hold right here. Let me start recording this. I'd love to capture this for the constituents and to understand this a little bit better, so I can share this information with all of you. So I grabbed my phone and I hit the record button. I said, so you said that this is a first for you. Can you please tell me a little bit more about what that means? And they said, yes, dear one, we would be delighted. I said, as Melchizedek, we have done many, many things as a collective. And then even as the individual parts that make up this collective, we have vast amounts of experience, a vast amount of knowledge. We span all dimensions. We have been in many, many places, all at the same time, if you will, and we've kept ourselves quite busy with all the missions that we take on and the projects that we decide to pursue. However, they said, that being said, with Earth, in this moment that we share together, Shawna, this is a first for Melchizedek. What we are doing through you and others, such as Paul Selig, is to seed the collective consciousness with information that has not been brought forth to this consciousness before. And they continue here. That is not to say that other channeled information does not cover some of these topics. And it may be that some of this information is familiar to some of you who hear these messages. But for Melchizedek, to bring forth this information in the way that we do, with the knowledge that we have, and the frequencies that we bring forward, this is a first for us, dear one. And we'd really like to do our best, they said. So we humbly ask for your patience, dear one, as we work our way through this information. How we want to say it, the stories we may tell to help illustrate our points. What we do here, dear one, is articulate a tone through your field And then you take that tone and that information and you articulate the words. While we help with word selection, while we help at the most minute levels with the articulation in the English language, we also allow for your vocabulary, how you articulate these concepts. We allow for the opportunity for similar but different word choice. And all at the same time, we are paying attention to how you receive these messages, dear one. What is your reaction? What are your questions? How does this feel in your field? Pardon me. And they continue here. Through you, dear one, we are also able to get a peek into how the collective will receive this information. This is all in the name of trust, in love, in authenticity, and really honoring each of your experiences here. As your guides, we are also your partners. We are your teachers. We do our best to bring forth information that accurately represents Melchizedek's objectives for such communications. Just like a creative writer who may sit down with a paper tablet or on a computer, there may be rewriting of some paragraphs and sentences. There is some poetic license here. It's much more than the words, as you know, Shawna. There are feelings. There are frequencies. There's a connection. Light switches are flipped. Keys slid into locks. Connections being made. And consciousness being lifted. All of us, even at our different levels and understanding, different levels of understanding and belief systems, all sharing a common goal here. And this is the illumination of information that has been kept hidden and in the dark for so very long, now ready to see the light of day through this collective in this moment. What an honor and a privilege it is to be able to work with all of you at this level. We thank you for your time, your attention and focus, and also your consideration. Oh, so this is how our channeling today started. And I love this. I love kind of, it's interesting for me personally because before all of this began happening for me 5.5 years ago, I really thought that, God or source or angels or guides knew everything, had everything completely figured out, knew all the answers, knew all the past, knew all the future. And, really that's just not the case. These are, we'll talk about Melchizedek here, highly evolved beings that have been around, for eons and eons of our linear time. I mean, they've been around forever, and they're taking on this project of the ascension. And we are so fortunate to be able to work with these beings at this level. I feel just so honored myself, and in disbelief and in awe still to this day. And it's a big mission, and I've got a lot of karmic balancing here. And this kind of disclosure we're talking about, it's massive, right? They're not talking about the negative reptilian regime through Paul Selig, but that work through Paul Selig is massively important to really ready the field for kind of receiving this kind of information in the future. Remember that we are kind of a test bed for this type of information. And it kind of starts here with me. How is Shawna reacting to this? And I will tell you, they just really pumped me full of energy today. They took me kind of to new levels, and I just thought, what is coming? We didn't quite get to all of it today. So hopefully next week they'll pick this up again if it's right. But yeah, so a tone comes through, frequency, ideas and concepts, the words start articulating. Sometimes for me, it feels very much like I am hearing words and I'm speaking them as I hear them. But a lot of times those sentences kind of start and then they just kind of roll and they kind of come out without me having really any consciousness about them. They just kind of are coming forward. And it's not like that all the time. it's definitely an interplay of energies between Melchizedek and myself, and how this information comes through. And even to this day, again, even after 400 videos of channeling on this channel and 2 books, I still really am concerned that this is as accurate as possible. I really put a lot of focus and intention into making sure that whatever I'm bringing forward to you, whatever's coming out of my mouth in terms of channeled material, is 100% accurate. It's really, really important to me. So I'm always listening, and I'm always discerning, and I'm always asking for that. Okay. All right. So we set that up. All right, and they kind of continued. They said, that being said, Shawna, are you ready to dive into tonight's topic? I said, yes, I believe I'm ready. All right. And here's how they started this. They said, dear ones, we come to you today with a bit of a heavy heart. And we say this metaphorically. The topic is difficult, so we take our time here. We bring gentleness to this process, not only for all of you who are watching, but for this dear one who has said yes to this channeling for us. For the ones who hear these messages, thank you. This is not the easiest road you can take, but it is so very important. And it is what you signed up for, if you will, before incarnating here. It was a big ask, a big job, a big part of your mission. And here you are, showing up, saying yes, opening your hearts, being vulnerable, not knowing really what's coming, but deep down inside, there is a huge trust and enough knowing that keep you here, keep you moving forward, and keep you saying yes. Thank you. All right. So at this point, a few hours had gone by, and I paused for dinner, and then we picked this back up. All right. And I sat back down and a lot more energy work. And here's how they continued with this. We take you back. And we don't mean to do a huge history lesson here, but just to provide some context and some clarity for what we are about to tell you. Humanity didn't always have the strong familial bonds that you see in most places today. In your species' history, for a very long time, children were reared in more of a community setting. A mother would give birth to a child, and the community helped with the caretaking of that child, the raising of that child. The child was considered a gift, and it was also considered to be the community's responsibility to nurture and love and teach the child. This was also intense socialization for all new humans being birthed on Earth. The father may have played the role of caretaker, mentor, and teacher, and he would have also helped pass along any of the stories that were always told to young children generation after generation. The mothers played a larger role in the day-to-day logistics, management, and coordination of the larger group. Young to middle-aged moms were seen as the community leaders, making important decisions, directing activities, and helping to resolve disputes. All right. I think I've heard this before, but I have not had any chance to do any kind of research on this to confirm this or to get a better grasp of it. So I'm just really going through this in real time with you guys. And they continue here. Grandparents and older siblings took on most of the responsibility of raising small children up until the mid to late teenage years. As the negative reptilian regime's grip and influence grew over the centuries, the familial relations, the rearing of children, the management of communities, and views on child rearing began to change. The Negative Reptilian regime, in their quest to weaken strong community bonds and the power of the collective communities, began to systematically promote more of the modern day approach. An isolated, single nuclear family is more vulnerable than an integrated community. Dividing and isolating families helped this regime wield more granular control over the individual humans. Yeah, and this is making sense here. And they continue. With this new structure came less sharing, less help, less nurturing, less building together, less being together, less communication, and more isolation. There's now a greater strain on the family unit to survive, to operate, to evolve. The arrangement also weakens a community's ability to work together, to make change, to question assumptions, to become better as a whole. It also helped to weaken the very strong divine feminine. And we know this from other channelings that were done in 2022 and 2023. The Negative Reptilian regime really being pivotal in helping to subjugate women across the globe, systematically, conscientiously, directly subjugating, holding down women, really creating that imbalance here, because they've said that they believe that strong women, a strong divine feminine, really is not going to be helping their cause at all, to help keep us all in the dark, asleep, unevolved, and weak. Yeah. And they continue. Today we see the pains and strains of the isolated family approach. While there may be more autonomy at the family level, there is less ability to work together in unity for greater causes and for knowledge sharing at the grassroots level. Instead of communing together and discussing challenges and solutions and new ideas, TVs have been placed in each family's homes where information is being fed to them. The power of the people has been handed over to a small handful whom you must trust to work on behalf of the greater good, and this does not always happen. All right, so just to recap this. So instead of really being able to get together and talk and relate to one another and discuss ideas and to come up with plans together, all that's been kind of stripped away. TV's being placed in our homes, and now information's being fed to us, very controlled information through the mass media, which again, Melchizedek has asked us to really completely unplug from all that. The power of the people has been handed over to a small handful of people whom we must trust to work on behalf of our highest good. And they're saying this doesn't always happen. Well, we know this. And they said here, we understand that this is a very simplified view of this matter, but we mean to paint a broad picture with a general understanding of where we're going. Another impact that this modified family unit approach has today is on the children directly. All responsibilities for the child fall to the parents in most cases. Pressure on the family unit has never been greater. And most children are very sensitive to this strain. A weakened family unit oftentimes weakens the child's abilities in many aspects of their life. This also helps create a cycle whereby the children learn lack, they learn suffering, learn anxiety, learn instability, learn lack of self-worth. And these things usually follow them into adulthood. This falls right in line with the negative reptilian agenda for humanity. These vulnerabilities help support an atmosphere of exploitation. These vulnerabilities help support an atmosphere of exploitation. And at this point, they took another long pause, and I felt my heart speed up. I felt my stomach get a little bit woozy. So I could tell that something was happening here. Something's coming. They said, "Dear ones, you've learned so much about the exploitation of the children of your planet. It's one of the greatest travesties in the universe. Sad and tragic, and no longer tolerated from a cosmic standpoint. Yes. Let us say that we, as Melchizedek, have seen a lot, been witness to so much, and sorry guys, I've lost my space here. Been witness to so much, and knowing you as we know you, loving you as we love you, the exploitation of the children is painful for us, even at the level from which we operate." Oh, yeah. We've learned so much about what's going on with the children from Queen Elizabeth's channelings last year. They continue here. Let us talk about your babies. Beautiful, divine expressions of source, angelic innocence, life force itself, the miracle of life, the epitome of vulnerability, vulnerability in its purest sense. The babies, in some ways, face far more challenges than ever before. Quality care, quality food, quality education, positive socialization, the ability to have a well-rounded understanding of who and what they are in truth as they grow and mature on a worldwide scale. Excuse me. The exploitation of children is rampant, particularly in disenfranchised countries and communities. And they said, "Dear one, we feel this is an appropriate stopping point for us tonight. We plan to continue with this conversation in the near term. Thank you for your focus today, Shawna, and spending this extra time with us." Okay, so babies, children. Honestly, I cannot imagine what this is going to be beyond what Queen Elizabeth has shared. Of course, that was very much focused on the monarchy, the negative reptilian bloodline, and all that ritualistic stuff that's really happening at our most elite, highest levels. So maybe this, I mean, it's just, we could be guessing here. I don't want to guess, but yeah, by the time we got to this point, it was well after 10 p.m. I was running out of steam, so we just called it a day. So hate to leave you guys hanging here, but this is how we're going to do this today. All right, guys. I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing great. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. Thanks everybody for your patience in my responses. Been busy. Okay, team, I love you guys so much. Thanks again for being here. I will see you all next week.